Well, after setting this up last time, the copper spray, by the way, worked great on this cheap MLS gasket. Sealed up real nice, held 24 pounds or whatever I was running. I had an issue that I've been having with this thing for quite a long time. And when I first bought this car, and I replaced everything, you know, just maintenance-wise, I did all the belts, did the timing belt, did the head gasket. And the wife was driving it, you know, like I said, it was bone stock at that time. The wife was driving it, new timing belt, and it just snapped. I was like, hey, what the hell was up with that? Thought, well, why the hell would the belt snap unless something froze up and caused it to yank? Let it go at that time. Then, if you guys remember right, I did a Gates blue belt on here. That lasted maybe 4,000 or 5,000 miles. And that snapped. Now, I haven't snapped this one since I put the Gates on. But I have had several instances, if you guys remember some of the old videos, where it jumped some teeth. And I had brought this up that the scarring in here, if you can hear it. See a little bit of the scarring there? Now this camshaft was like that. Now the bearings under here are in great shape. Alright, those are all in nice shape. The bearings, however, in the head has some pretty deep scarring too. I mean, you can barely feel it with your fingernails. So here's what I think has been happening, and I thought this a while back, and I didn't really have another option to fix it. But what I thought was happening is somehow the cam was seizing up. Maybe lack of oil flow, who knows. But I thought the cam was seizing up. Well, I got to hold this other Y8 head here. And, I mean, this thing was, like, not trash, but just sitting around in a barn full of cat litter and everything else, you name it. So I thoroughly went through this head. Checked the deck on it. It's within 2 thou. It's nice. I'm going to clean it up still with some acetone here, but it's in fairly good shape. But the big difference here, you'll notice, same cam sticks. You see the dark coloring on here, the coating they put on? It's kind of worn off at some of the lobes here, but it's worn off completely at the bearings. And then you look at this one. Dark, 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 and dark. And just compare the two here. So, my thoughts are half, I would say a good half of the issues I've had with this thing. One time for sure, blowing a set of pistons when I was like, man, it seems like it jumped 2 teeth because I retimed it. And I thought it was just because my tune was too aggressive, but it really wasn't. It was really conservative looking back at it. And it's because I've been fucking jumping timing. This was the craziest and the most overt ordeal that just happened last time. I had this... excuse me, I got kids over here that are running across gravel road here with toys, so it's loud. This is the most craziest one that happened. I was running it. It was running good. I gave it a couple pulls. I mean, I didn't even put 10 miles on this thing. Hold on, let me shut this door. All right. So I put a couple pulls on it. Like I said, didn't even drive it more than 10 miles. And it sounded like all of a sudden after one pull, it just sounded like it was knocking real hard. And I said, oh shit. I got new, again, I do new rod bearings. Anytime I tear this down to even check it, I throw a set of rod bearings in because I know these Y8s are susceptible to doing a, lack of oil down below. Even though I got great oil pressure in this thing, I was like, well, let me just do that. And I chalked it up to that until I said, well, let me check the timing real quick. I checked the timing, and the damn cam gear was off 180 degrees. It still ran, but as you would probably figure, the valves are all smacking the pistons. So how the hell it spun 180 and stayed there and then stayed running as if it sounded like, I mean, it was the craziest shit, right? So it sounded like it was knocking. Well, I went and did a compression test on it. Good thing is the copper gasket seal, I had no milk in my oil. I didn't leak a drop of antifreeze the whole time in the warm-up cycles. None of that. No mixing of fluids. But I did a compression test, and I think I had 30 or 40, and then 60. I had 180 on this one for some reason, and then down to 60 on that one. So, needless to say, a whole lot of valves got bent. So, this one, I went ahead and lapped all the valves, cleaned them up pretty good. Well, I could have did a little better job in the exhaust, but whatever. Lapped them all, and made sure I cleaned the shit out of the head and inside the valve guides and all that too, because it was really cake. So we're going to throw this sucker on. I'm just going to swap over the intake manifold with the the GM truck injectors here and send it. Initially my plans were to bring this back to stock with this Z6 I got out of that black Del Sol that you guys saw on the channel earlier. This is just a really great running stock motor. An old boomer owned it for the last 17 years, so it's been really well maintained. I heard it ran, drove it around actually in the Del Sol without a windshield. It drives and sounds beautiful. And I thought, that'd be a good one to swap in there for a little while and maybe tune it to get some good gas mileage. But then once I realized that this is just going to need a head swap and it'll probably run fine, keep my fingers crossed. I would imagine there's nothing wrong with the bottom end, to be honest with you, after all that timing mess. And I'll probably not have half the problems that I had with the camshaft, right? So we'll see what I could do. We'll see. But here's the deal. Got an H22 head here. And I got another one here along with all the parts. Just a pigsty. But here's what I just picked up lately. I finally went and did it. I finally went and spent some more eBay money. And you can't really I guess you can make out what this is. But these are H&F series mounts for the 8K.
They finally came in?
Well, yeah, they've been here about 2 weeks. So I'm going to finally put a G23 back together. I got two options here. Here's the only problem with this head, even though this head's already got the threaded in plugs at the oil parts, is this damn bolt broke off, and then my easy out broke off in it. So I don't know if I'm just going to put some gasket maker. Because this bracket that sits here is held down by 4 bolts, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 3. Wait. Yeah, it's held down by 4 bolts. So I can probably get away with some gasket maker here and not have an issue with leakage. But if that don't work, this head that I picked up while I was down in Florida is already heavily ported. I got to check the cam sticks in here and see what those are. But the intake and exhaust ports. Oh, no, not the exhaust ports. Just the intake ports have been ported. They're pretty big. And then I can run this one. I just got to thread the oil tabs. Maybe I'll get, I think K-Tuned or somebody sells just the ready-made plugs I can do. Oh, who put this janky shit in here? I just now noticed that. Hopefully those are the right threading and not some American threading. Whatever. We'll get to that in a while. And then what else? Let me hurry this video up. And then I got a throttle, a 70 mil skunk tooth throttle somewhere in all this mess. So this is the block I'm going to use. That's the block you guys saw running in the red van at the start of this channel. It's got the K20A3 dome, not dome pistons. So you look at them. You look at the K20A3 pistons I got in there. They're 86 mil pistons. So this whole bottom end is done. It's all fresh, and I rebuilt that one from scratch. I just pull off this F-Series head, the F23 head, slap on the H22, and then if I have any more problems with this, it's just coming out, right? That's all there is to it. This one's coming out. But I shouldn't have any more problems because, like I said, I've been ignoring this issue. And like I said, if you guys have been paying attention to the channel, I did bring this up a couple times and thought, whatever. But, getting a hold of anything Honda up here is usually pretty difficult. Speaking of Hondas, I got this one all cleaned up. Mostly cleaned up in the interior. Like I said, they almost use this thing as a damn chicken coop. So if you could smell what this thing smelled like, but yeah, it already had some kind of, I don't know what kind of suspension yet, but it's got some suspension work done to it. I still have to figure it out. I got to get it up on the rack. Suppose you can't tell. But this one's only got 150,000 on it. It's got some, I believe some DC Sports headers, some old school ones, some old school AM intake. It looks like some HID shit. You know, some basic Fisher-Price, my first Honda mods. I like this one's got AC, the black one didn't. I'm going to pop these dents out. And then, and let's see here. I'm going to clean up some of the paint on here. And then, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, we got a couple of Accords. I got a F22 VTEC there. I got an F22 non-VTEC. And then I got this Honda, which is the V6 model. So I got 3 97 Honda Accords. I picked them up to flip them, really. This one's a wagon model and it's beat, but you know, these cars are damn bulletproof. Good grocery getter, bulletproof cars. So we're gonna clean this pigsty up in here and get it all nice and detailed. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and I like your shirt. It's pretty awesome. So yeah. Well, that said, we'll check you guys out later, and then I'll put some polls. I'm gonna actually finally, I got a laptop that runs a little better now, so I'm gonna have finally do the Honda Tuning Suite software, and then yeah, we're gonna tune this with HTS, so we'll see how that goes. I still want to do E85 on this, but it's an hour and a half drive from where I live to even get E85. Such a pain in the ass. And if you're doing a few pulls, you burn through a tank pretty quick anyway, so it's like a real pain in the ass then. But, I don't know. I guess I'll have to stick with pump gas for a minute. We'll find out. Alright, check you guys later. See ya.